speech prepared, I'd run over it, I had it all in my head, and I've decided now it's irrelevant. So what I'm going to say is, there's one thing that we've seen tonight with the proposition. There's one thing that has united each and every one of us, and that is the gospel message. That is behind it the love of God and love of neighbour. But there's one thing that we agree on, all of us on this bench tonight, is that it's inclusive, and nobody should say otherwise. It should be there for women, it should be there for everyone of every gender, of every race, and sexual orientation. The church should be open for everybody to be able to come and follow that gospel message. And on that note, I want to then go through and say that the Catholic Church is changing. The Catholic Church will never be as it once was. Is that a bad thing? No. The Catholic Church will never have the same power that it was. Is that a bad thing? No. The Catholic Church mightn't have the same dogmas as it once had. Is that a bad thing? No. What the church has to do is put people first. The church has to be there for its members. The church has to be there for everybody. And I think that Pope Francis is bringing us in the right direction. And I hope and I pray that the church is a sense everyone can feel belonging to it, a member or not. What I'd want to say is, sadly, Irish Catholicism tended to be a harsh and unforgivable variety. This was evident from things like the Magdalene laundries, one of the most un-Christian institutions ever founded. The handling of the child sex abuse was despicable, undermined and portrayed victims, followers of the church, and that gospel message that we are all here tonight trying to defend. And I don't say these things lightly as a practicing Catholic myself. There was one thing that stood out for me that caused me to think, has the church a place in society today? And it caused me, believe it or not, a sleepless night or two. I watched a documentary on BBC about Father Smith. Must have been about 6 years. I can tell you, I barely got to sleep that night. I can tell you, it was the most disturbing thing that I have ever seen in my life. And I was shocked. And I looked around me and I remember going to Mass that week and looking around and saying, will this be the last time that I ever go? Like many have been caused to review this, to wonder, will this be the last time and to walk into a church. When I went into that church and I looked around, I seen the priest on the altar, I seen the laity there, and I seen members of my own family still go. I seen them trying to live a good life, living towards that message. Some more successful than others, probably more successful than me. I seen those in our community, as a church community, that are there at times of grief. Our priest then, as he is now, is there for everybody, a friend to all. He's there whenever we're grieving. He's there whenever people are sick in hospital, and he's there visiting. He's simply a friend. And he's there to give that message of love of God and love of neighbour. There are many great examples within the church today. Many great people within the church. I seen one last week, was whenever Philomena Lee went to see the Holy Father. Philomena Lee was made famous by the film Philomena. She had to say this, making sure we're all on the same level. And she said, I have always put great faith in the church and the goodwill to put wrongs of the past right. There's a woman, terrible things happened to her because of doctrines, because of teachings of the church. And there she is, showing forgiveness in true Christian style. And maybe the leadership and the hierarchy of the church can follow her and her leadership on the issue of forgiveness. There are many great people in the church today, like Father Peter McVerry. And he is there helping the homeless. I was lucky enough to meet him whenever he came for Flack Talk. He seeks people out that are homeless. And many of us walk past. We just don't want to get involved. We're afraid of the hassle that will happen because of it. and we just walk home. But he seeks them out. He shows that there's worth in their lives, and he lives through that gospel message. Now, what I'm going to get to is the essence of why does there need to be a church? What is the essence of that? Is this exclusive sort of righteousness only in the church? No, not of course. Definitely not. I refuse that. But there's an element that binds us together as a community. I know, Michael, you were wondering then, will the church just disintegrate and break into two or what have you? But there is one thing that binds us together, and that is faith. That is the seeking God and seeking a higher power. Pierce Brosnan said, "My faith has helped me. I'm a Catholic. That's all that you have left when your heart is just in a dark hole at 4 in the morning and you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. No one can escape life's pain. That's life." For centuries, people have looked towards a higher power, have looked towards a God. And the church is a community for those people to come together and to live that gospel message that we are trying to defend. Sorry about that. Well timed, it's done well. So now, I just want to conclude that I have a lot of hope with Pope Francis in reaching out to the homeless. He celebrated his birthday with them as Archbishop of Buenos Aires. He took them into his house. I have a lot of hope in that message. I have a lot of hope in reaching out to everybody, and that's what I hope he does. And I'd just like to conclude that the message, this gospel message, I believe is timeless. But the church must not see itself as a judge and jury, must not preach, but must follow in Pope Francis, a man who walks the talk. The church is evolving, and that is good. It is seeking out with Pope Francis in his questionnaire on social issues that affect Catholics across the world. We're now listening to the membership. They're putting the people first. That is the first step. And we must be thankful for that. Catholics must reflect on his achievements in the first year, not least in bringing back humility, respect, and energy to the institution. The church can and will be salvaged, provided it lives up to its mission statement of love of God and love of neighbour and puts its members first. Thank you. I urge you.